When looking at the fight between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford, the debate immediately turns toward contrasting strengths. If you go down the list of tactical advantages, most of them belong to Crawford. He has the sharper skill set, better adaptability, and more advanced ring IQ. What Canelo brings, however, is undeniable size, natural physical strength, and sheer punching power. His frame is built for heavier divisions, and he carries it well with a neck as wide as Broadway, built to absorb punishment and deliver it back with force. But what some analysts dislike about Canelo's style is that nearly every punch he throws is delivered with the intention of being a power shot. It is almost as if his offensive game lacks variety, since he rarely mixes lighter touches or setups, instead looking to land with maximum impact each time. Against a fighter like Crawford, who thrives on timing, rhythm, and exploiting openings, that predictability could become a problem. Both men hit hard, though. Fighters who have shared the ring with Crawford have admitted that his strength can be surprising. At first glance, Crawford doesn't appear to be an overly physical fighter, but once you engage with him inside the ropes, you quickly discover that he can move you around, control the clinch, and generate real power in his punches. Even those who underestimated him came away impressed with how strong he actually is. This brings up the obvious question: why does Crawford, already considered the #1 pound-for-pound fighter in the world, need to risk it all against someone like Canelo? He has nothing left to prove, yet he seems determined to take on this monumental challenge. When Max Kellerman and Stephen A. Smith broke down the fight, their perspectives highlighted the contrast. Stephen A. predicted that Crawford could win by decision, but stressed caution. He recalled warnings from Gervonta Davis's camp that Crawford might find himself in trouble if he engages too much with Canelo. The natural size and power of Alvarez could prove overwhelming in exchanges, so Crawford's path to victory has to come through speed, defense, and sharp ring IQ. He cannot allow the fight to become a brawl. On the other hand, Max Kellerman noted that Crawford's technical edge is undeniable. In almost every skill-based category, Crawford looks sharper, especially compared to the more recent version of Canelo. But Kellerman also reminded everyone that Alvarez still has one of the most durable chins in the sport and a naturally larger frame with thicker bones and greater resilience. While Crawford may be fresher and technically superior, Canelo's toughness and size will not make it easy. Kellerman explained that the matchup becomes a battle of timing versus durability, where Crawford's sharpness will be tested against Alvarez's ability to absorb and counter. Canelo's career tells a story of evolution. He started as a natural counterpuncher, someone who thrived when opponents came forward. But in recent years, especially at super middleweight, he transformed into more of a pressure fighter, cutting off the ring and forcing exchanges. His early struggles against slick movers like Erislandy Lara, Austin Trout, and of course Floyd Mayweather exposed his limitations when following opponents around. Over time, he improved in this area, becoming much better at closing distance and trapping fighters. Still, his last few outings showed some signs of decline. His punch output has dropped, and he has not looked quite as crisp or dominant as in the past. These changes make Crawford's skill set stand out even more, since Crawford continues to rise to every occasion. When it comes to pure talent, many believe Crawford has the upper hand. Yet nobody can ignore that Canelo is simply the bigger man. No matter what the scale says at the weigh-in, Alvarez's frame is naturally built for the higher divisions. Crawford, even after bulking up, will never quite match that skeletal advantage. This is why many analysts assume that Canelo has the edge in punching power. Crawford carried knockout power up through welterweight, but at junior middleweight his streak ended when he could not stop Israel Madrimov. Meanwhile, Alvarez has consistently delivered knockout power against men who are naturally larger than Crawford. Antonio Tarver, a respected former champion, weighed in by saying that while he supports Crawford, he acknowledges this is the toughest challenge of Crawford's career. He stressed that Crawford has always proven himself in every division he entered, but this fight is on a completely different level. At the same time, Tarver pointed out that Canelo too has never faced someone quite like Crawford, a fighter with such complete skill, versatility, and confidence. This is why he framed the matchup as one of the best possible fights in the sport, a test that defines both men's legacies. Timothy Bradley Jr., another sharp boxing mind, offered his prediction for how the fight might begin. He believed the opening round would be cautious and tactical. Both men, he said, are known for analyzing opponents early. Crawford, in particular, is patient in big fights, taking time to see what openings are available before setting traps. Canelo, although often aggressive later, has also been known to use the first round as a feel-out session. Bradley predicted the first round would be quiet, with both fighters measuring distance, testing balance, and gauging reactions. In the second round, however, he expected Canelo to apply more pressure. Bradley pointed out that engaging Crawford is far trickier than engaging someone like Jermall Charlo because Crawford's pre-engagement movements, the subtle footwork, feints, and changes of angle before punches are thrown make him far harder to predict. He believed this early chess match would set the tone for the fight. Amir Khan, who uniquely fought both Canelo and Crawford, offered another perspective. He respected Crawford immensely, saying he already established himself as an all-time great at welterweight. However, Khan reminded everyone that boxing has weight classes for a reason. Moving up against naturally bigger men comes with risks. He warned that Crawford did not need to put this pressure on himself, since his legacy was already secure as a two-time undisputed champion. Still, Khan acknowledged Crawford's ambition and desire to silence doubters. While he considered it dangerous, he also admitted it could elevate Crawford into an even greater historical category if he succeeded. Khan reflected on his own experiences, noting that Canelo was easier to hit than Crawford. Against Alvarez, he landed clean punches, but against Crawford, he struggled to connect. This, in his eyes, highlighted the skill gap between the two. He emphasized that Canelo may be slowing down with age, but he remains powerful, and those heavy shots still land. From the business side, promoter Tom Leffler viewed the fight as one of the biggest spectacles boxing could offer. Canelo and Crawford each carry massive fan bases, crossing different countries, cultures, and demographics. The clash is not just about skill, but about two empires colliding, Canelo as the long-standing face of boxing, and Crawford as the new pound-for-pound king. Leffler emphasized how rare it is for fighters of this magnitude to meet in the modern era, where weight differences and promotional politics often prevent dream fights. For him, the magnitude alone makes it one of the biggest events imaginable. Trainer Dave Coldwell highlighted Crawford's versatility as a major advantage. He praised Crawford's ability to switch stances seamlessly, his sharp footwork, and his sense of distance. Coldwell argued that Crawford's legs might be the key to victory. If he can maintain mobility, create angles, and avoid being trapped, he can frustrate Alvarez and accumulate points. He noted that Canelo, as he has aged, has slowed down and prefers fighting at a measured pace. He loads up on power shots and does not enjoy fighting at a high tempo. Crawford, with his foot movement and tactical adjustments, could use this to his advantage, as long as he avoids being caught flush. Coldwell acknowledged that if Canelo lands a huge punch, Crawford will feel it, but he also believed Crawford's ring smarts are enough to survive and reset. Jeff Mayweather, on the other hand, focused on size. He explained that this fight highlights the importance of natural weight classes. Canelo has dominated at super middleweight, a division that suits his frame perfectly. Crawford, by moving up, is entering a weight that does not truly belong to him. The additional pounds could affect his stamina, speed, and endurance. Mayweather believed that Alvarez has the advantage in comfort and natural strength at this weight. However, he still left room for Crawford's brilliance, admitting that if anyone could overcome such a disadvantage, it would be him. Analysts from Ring magazine have pointed to one of Canelo's recent flaws, his declining ability to cut off the ring. In fights like the one against William Skull, Alvarez chased but failed to trap his opponent effectively. Instead of cutting off angles, he ended up following in circles, unable to pin down his target. Against someone as mobile and intelligent as Crawford, this weakness could become a major liability. Former champion David Haye initially believed Canelo's size would be too much for Crawford. But after observing Crawford closely, he admitted his perspective shifted. Seeing Crawford's sharpness in training and his unrelenting work ethic convinced him that the Nebraskan has a real chance. Haye compared Crawford's mindset to Andre Ward's, pointing out that Crawford would not enter this fight unless he truly believed he had enough to win. Haye admitted he once favored Canelo, but has since leaned toward Crawford, saying that when they stood side by side, the size difference was not as dramatic as expected. This, in his view, made it a pure pound-for-pound contest of skill and determination. Jeff Horn, who famously upset Manny Pacquiao, issued a warning to Alvarez as well. He argued that size does not automatically guarantee victory. Crawford's defense, anticipation, and ability to roll with punches could neutralize much of Canelo's power. Horn stressed that Crawford's discipline in avoiding clean shots could frustrate Canelo and tilt the fight in Crawford's favor. Finally, some veteran fighters who have watched Crawford's entire career concluded with conviction that they simply cannot bet against him. They highlighted his mental toughness, adaptability, and unshakable self-belief. To them, Crawford has always risen to the occasion, and this fight is just another stage for him to prove his greatness. For those fighters, placing faith in Crawford is the only choice, even against a legend like Canelo Alvarez. All in all, this fight represents one of the most fascinating matchups of the modern era. On one side stands Canelo, the bigger man with proven strength at higher weights, equipped with a granite chin and decades of experience at the elite level. On the other side stands Crawford, the pound-for-pound king, a master of adjustments, a switch hitter with impeccable timing, speed, and versatility. The outcome hinges on whether size and power will triumph over skill and strategy, or whether Crawford can once again defy the odds and elevate his legacy to an even higher place in history.